Hello, everybody. As you are rolling in, I would love to know if you could add into the chat where you are joining us from. We'll be getting started here in just 2 minutes. Hi, Diana. I'm glad you found us. We did get a few questions ahead of time for today's session, which are incorporated into the discussion we're having. That is what we are adding into the chat right now. Love to know where you are joining us from. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. It is a rainy, cloudy day. Hey, Cindy in Illinois. Hey, Diana in Rhode Island. I want to come visit Rhode Island. Hey, Catherine in New Jersey and Angela in Virginia. Hello, David in New York City. Hey, Kelly in Massachusetts and Amanda in Cali. Okay, we have folks rolling in. I'm going to just go ahead and get started on our introduction here today. Thank you so much for joining and welcome to today's Living Security Ask Me Anything session. It is brought to you by the Living Security community. I believe most of you on the call have already joined the community, but if you haven't already joined, please visit community.livingsecurity.com. We will actually just drop that link in there for you so you can join, or you can revisit if you haven't signed in a while. I am the community facilitator, and we have over 1,000 members now, and I actually vet every single one of them before allowing them to join. So it's just been a very collaborative and encouraging place to visit, and we'd love to have you join in our discussions. My name's Kinney. In addition to being the community facilitator, I'm also one of Living Security's client advisors, again, here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been with Living Security for 3 years, and formerly I was actually a Living Security client. In that role, I helped build out a full security awareness program at a big data analytics company here in the area. Now, my college degree is in psychology and business. So today's discussion on how nudges can help improve security behavior is especially interesting to me and my psychology background, and I hope you'll find it interesting as well. Throughout today's discussion, we will be watching the chat and also the Q&A. Please put your questions in the Q&A so we can keep them organized. But if you just want to chime in on something, you can put that in the chat. Questions in Q&A, chiming in the chat. Now, we're hoping this will be a very interactive session. So when I ask you to chime in, please do. We really want to hear your great ideas. And we will be keeping track of everybody who engages here in the session today and have swag to send out to a selection of you as a little incentive to talk to us. We will be sharing the recording of the session and the slides with everyone via email later this week. And I'd like to introduce Kelly. Kelly, I know that you have already met a lot of our participants on your road shows and perhaps at the RSA conference last week. But for those who haven't had a chance to meet you yet, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jenny. I am thrilled to be here today with you, Jenny, especially given your background and expertise on this topic, and hoping to learn a lot from you and from the folks who joined our webinar. I'm Kelly Harward. I'm the Vice President of Product here at Living Security. I joined at the beginning of the year. So although I'm relatively new to Living Security, I've spent the last 2 decades in working on the development of different cybersecurity products, all with a focus on the human element in cyber risk. And so this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. As you mentioned, since I joined, I have been out on the road meeting with lots of really amazing customers and people who are working in the human risk management space. And I've been amazed at all the great work that is being done in this space. I see a couple familiar names here on the attendees list. So shout out to people that I've met. If I haven't met you, please reach out to me, connect to me on LinkedIn, send me a note. I'd love to hear from you and make the connection.
Yeah, Kelly, we're so glad to have you at Living Security when you first came on board. You told me so much about your background, and I know our philosophies really align. So thank you so much for bringing your expertise to us as well. I think we'll have a lot to learn from each other and from the group today. Just as a quick reminder, this is a series on human risk management called Ask Me Anything. These are the monthly topics that we have. Today we're doing HRM nudges, training, and orchestrations. We have enabling the workforce with HRM and building a positive security culture. Coming up, you'll see where we got these topic ideas here in a moment. And then we also have some past sessions that we've held. David, if you could please drop the link to the AMA landing page. We have those recordings, so if you missed them, you can hop in and take a view of those. One thing, the very first one that we had, let me go back, on March 12th was kind of like a basics and definition of what is human risk management and the difference between that and security awareness and training. It's not just semantics, and Ashley Rose did a great job of doing a deep dive to that topic. But just as a quick definition from Forrester, human risk management is defined as solutions that manage and reduce cybersecurity risk posed by and to humans through these 4 points. I'm not going to read all of them today. You could take a look at that in the series, but today we are going to be focusing on the initiating policy and training interventions based on the human risk with an emphasis on nudges. So some general philosophies for today's discussion. This is one of the things that Kelly and I are especially aligned on. And as we were preparing for this presentation, I just got chills just at how much we are aligned in this and how much our products are actually dedicated to encouraging these philosophies. One is to assume positive intent from your employees. Assume that they do want to try to do the right thing. And we want to make it easy for people to do the right thing. And we also want to meet people where they are. When I first started in security awareness, I was actually fairly new to the industry. And in a way, I felt like I was better at my job at that point than when I felt like the more I knew, the less effective I was, because I started assuming that all of my employees knew all the acronyms I was using and had this base knowledge that I didn't have like in 3 years prior, and they don't have either. So that's something that we all need to remember when we're trying to educate employees, is that we need to meet them where they are, make it easy for them to do the right thing, and assume positive intent. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just exhausted in my life. And work is so busy. I'm torn in so many different directions. And so I always do want to do the right thing. Sometimes I don't, just because I don't know what it is. So let's try to make it easy for folks to do the right thing. I think this might be a book that everybody would enjoy, not just for the basis of nudges and cybersecurity, but also in your personal life. It was written by a Nobel Prize winner and a winner of the Holberg Prize, called Nudge. This nudge theory is actually a fairly new concept, and this book was written in 2009. I think people really started talking about nudge theory in about 2008, so it's pretty new. But I think this could perhaps help you in your personal life when it comes to improving decisions about health, wealth, and happiness. I know I want more of all of that. So this is one of the things that I will be raffling off for your engagement. So if you want a copy of that book, please engage. Okay, so I wanted to give you some theories, some examples of nudge theory that I found in researching this presentation. There are some examples that I really liked a lot that are in an article. David, could you drop that article that I told you about from Skip Pritchard? Yeah, okay, so that's the book. Thank you. And then this article from Skip Pritchard, I thought was really interesting, very quick and simple to read, but it gave some great examples on nudges that are more for just kind of out in the world life. But I want you to start thinking about when you look at examples of nudges, how could you use the same practices or similar practices within your human risk management program? So one example is eating your veggies. So a grocery store chain found that if they placed arrows around grocery store floors pointing towards the fruit and vegetable aisle, 9 out of 10 shoppers followed them, and their sales for fruits and vegetables went up. Another one is social norms, and I've actually done a full presentation on social norms before. It's extremely interesting, especially if you have any interest in psychology and behavioral science. But this example in the UK, people in arrears of taxes were sent messages like 9 out of 10 people in your area are up to date on their tax payments, making them seem like outliers since they hadn't paid their taxes. When I first found out about the social norms theory, I was still in my previous role as a security awareness manager, and I started using it with our phishing clicks. So I kind of used it like, you are, one of the 11% of the people in the organization that fell for a phishing simulation, kind of, letting them know that most people are not falling for the phishing simulations, and perhaps they can, use that little healthy sense of competition to improve their behavior. Another example was organ donation. In countries where you opt in to donate organs, you see an average of 30% of donors. In countries where you opt out, about 85% are donors. So I want you to start thinking about ways you could perhaps use these kinds of examples in your programs. I can think of an example right off the top of the bat, but I have some other examples to show you. So use your creativity and let us know some different ways that you think that you could use this nudge theory within your programs. Drop that in the chat. And okay, what's the difference between nudging with a social norm or manipulating with social media? Okay, Lori, I wonder if you're thinking about marketing or if you're thinking about human risk management. If you wouldn't mind letting me know what you mean by that, that would be helpful. Like, from the manipulation connotation, I don't know if you're talking about marketing or if you're talking about cyber threats. Just let me know a little bit more about what you mean there. Okay, yeah, so put some examples of ways that you can use nudges in your programs. Another thing that we wanted to ensure that we cover is, when we're thinking about nudges, we want to take vigilant behaviors and risky behaviors into account. So you can nudge people to act more vigilantly by rewarding them, and you can also mitigate risky behaviors with nudges to keep people from doing the more risky behaviors. And these theories are all based upon, again, people wanting to do the right thing and letting people know the reason why the behavior change is important to their organization. So let's always think about, why would you want to slow down when you're in your inbox? Why would you want to use a secure method of data transfer within your organization? What are the risks involved, and how could they be impacted by those risks, be it with a breach in the organization or something else? Let's see, you reinforce good behaviors with reward points and swag and positive notes to managers posting of the winners. Thanks, you guys. Those are great. Yeah. If anybody ever compliments me, if I have a client compliment me, I'm like, will you please let my manager know? It is so impactful to reward people through notes to their managers. They can be extremely influential in your behavior. So, okay, Lori, the second point about the taxes seems like a guilt trip, which we want to avoid. Although it's effective, I agree, rewarding good behavior is the best choice, although more pricey and time consuming. You're so right. So yeah, when it comes to your individual program, if you want to avoid the guilt, that's fair. But when we're talking about potential breaches in your organization, I'm kind of tend to say, like, what is going to work? How can we really encourage people to change their behaviors towards more vigilant and secure behaviors? avoiding guilt, I agree with you, but also that little healthy sense of competition, like between departments, let's say, we have more people in, let's say, finance reporting than we do in marketing. Marketing, what's going on? Why aren't you reporting phishing emails, that kind of a thing. Angela, you said with risky users, we offer one-on-one sessions and rewards for taking us up on the session. Okay, thanks, Lori. I'm glad that we are aligned there. Oh, I also added a thread yesterday on the concept of nudges in the community, and I would love to keep that conversation going. Again, send you swag if you engage with us. But David, if you wouldn't mind dropping the link into that thread, it's kind of a long one, but I would love to keep the conversation going after the session. Paula, you said internal surveys show that our people prefer positive feedback through recognition rather than rewards. It's cheaper too. Yeah, very, very much so. And I would love to know, Paula, some examples of the positive feedback. Are you putting that in newsletters, on your intranet, telling managers, town halls? Give us a little bit more info there, if you don't mind. One-on-one is great for risky users, Diana. Group work may feel shameful. I know what you mean, and it's all about scalability, isn't it? And I think Kelly can address a little bit of scalability here in a minute. And when we talk about human risk, we are very much into pinpointing the most risky users, so that, such a great point, Diana. If we have somebody, let's say, that is being highly attacked, through phishing emails, they are more likely to click on a phishing email based on your data than another one. And they are privileged users, have system admin or system admin rights or something like that. That would definitely be somebody that you would want to address one-on-one and let them know, the exact risk that they're posing to the company, more so than just somebody like me. I'm not a privileged user. I just basically get emails, from clients. I'm very vigilant about checking emails, of course. So I'm going to pose less of a risk. So that's a great comment. Thank you so much for all of these comments, guys. Okay, Paula, you said we are just starting to use positive recognition feedback. Finding the right channels is challenging. We're trying to go through managers. I'm always open to hearing what others do. Yes, and I think I am too, Paula. Let's share the wealth of knowledge and understand what's worked for other people. So if you go up to the living security, keep the conversation going about nudges on the living security community. I would love to see you chime in there. Diana, we have to remind that we are all human, and even we have been phished and scammed. Completely agree. The smartest people in your organization and those who have the most technical knowledge can be phished and scammed. And I don't know if you're here for my first, the intro saying, let's all assume positive intent, recognizing that we're all human, and meeting people where they are is so important. And I think it goes a lot further in building a positive security culture than just shaming folks. So I really, really love the way where you guys are coming from here. Okay, so nudge theory and human risk, we had some examples of like grocery stores, organ donation, etc. Here are some examples, and we actually have a slew of these at Living Security. So if you are interested in doing a deeper dive of some examples of how we are using nudges in our human risk management tool and with our trainings, please let us know, because we'd love to tell you all about it. One of these is a reminder of policy sent to traveling employees. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this. This was just a little nudge of a reminder to those who are traveling, very specific. Whenever connecting to the internet through public or unsecured Wi-Fi networks, employees must use the VPN to encrypt their internet traffic. Watch this module to learn more about our policy and download secure access software. So when we say this module, Living Security is very dedicated to creating short and impactful training videos. We are recognizing just through our clients' feedback and then also our own attention spans. Shorter the better. We have a lot of nano modules that are less than a minute. Quick and simple reminders. We're finding that some people like longer form trainings, and we have those available as well, but short and sweet is working pretty well with employees. So kudos for your vigilance. Here we are rewarding vigilance. Thank you for reporting a phishing attempt. This is a cute little some cute little verbiage that David put together. Your keen observation and swift response to this potential security threat were instrumental in preventing what could have been a significant compromise to our company's data and integrity. Keep up the great work. I tell you what, a simple little message like this can really go a long way in promoting security culture. It makes people feel good. People love to be recognized for their good work, kind of like a little gold star. If I get a high five or any kind of compliment, it just makes me more motivated. It improves my morale and also makes me want to do the right thing more than I like the carrot approach more than the stick approach. So let's make sure that we are encouraging folks who are doing the right thing. At Living Security, we have a lot of short little, what we call celebrations videos that you can just ping over to people in Slack or Teams or email when you know that they've done the right thing. Amy, oh, Angela, love that message. Need to change our monthly communication. So glad that you are learning something, Angela. And Amy, hey, Amy, love the kudos. We do send a good job response when they properly report a test phishing email. Oh, but you're not doing anything for actual emails. Okay. That's great, Amy. And it is a delicate balance. And Amy's one of my clients. So we can talk about this a little bit more when it comes some strategies that we can do for the real phishing emails. And Aaron, you have been using a PDF certificate for all those that report phishing in the wild. It has been well received, easy to do, and free. Aaron, I love it. I don't know if I've seen you in the community before, so please join. And if you could send us a stripped down version of that PDF, that would be amazing. You don't need to put any like logos on it or something like that, but that would be, oh, first time. Okay, that would be wonderful, so that we could maybe borrow the verbiage from your PDF. Okay, love these comments that are coming in. Kelly, I haven't given you much time to chat. So the last thing I want to talk about is multiple blocked data transfer attempts. This could be a little in product nudge, or just if you received a notification that somebody was trying to transfer data in an incorrect way, you could just, tell them, real time, this is the proper way for you to do a data transfer. Okay, I promise this is the last thing. One of the things, I just kind of made up this thing called nudge blindness. Maybe you've heard it before. I don't know. I hadn't heard it before. But we have been seeing these cute little caution blocks on our emails for lots of years now. Lots of people are using these, and I think they're great. Just one thing to remember is that if you are seeing, 90% of your emails have an external tag, then you are going to go blind to it, and it's not going to have the warning impact that you want it to potentially. So I would recommend switching up the font, the verbiage, the color every once in a while so that people are actually noticing it. And also as part of your phishing trainings, your phishing lunch and learns, that type thing, make sure people say like, hey, when you see this, really pay attention, because it means that the likelihood of it being a malicious email goes up, more so than an internal email. So, okay, so one thing that I know is really important, and so many of you are completely stretched in your jobs, perhaps you're understaffed, perhaps security awareness is only one part of your job. So automation, repeatability, scalability through orchestration can be so helpful. And that's one of the things that Kelly is really concentrating on when it comes to our products and product improvements. And so Kelly, I thought that you might want to share some of your thoughts and backgrounds on orchestration, and let me know if you want me to back up or move forward with the slides. Oh, Kelly, you're on mute.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up. I'll just touch on this really briefly.
Sure.
This isn't in any way a product pitch, but I do think it's important to talk a little bit about how a true HRM platform like Living Securities Unify can help with some of these problems. And one of the areas where we're making a lot of product investments is around this area of orchestration, which helps you to start to automate certain actions that you want to take and drive some of these changes at scale. One of the things that I love about this journey that we're all on, from awareness training toward true human risk management, is the opportunity that it gives us to be timely, to reach out and engage with people when the context is relevant, and to sort of personalize some of those communications, right? And as many of you mentioned here in the chat, that can be challenging to do, especially at scale. And that's really one of the areas where we're looking to provide some capabilities in our HRM platform to help people accomplish that. So if you want to just click through, Jenny, on building this slide out.
Oh, yeah.
So, a couple things that our orchestration workflows can support. One is to prescriptively assign training. So this idea of just-in-time training, when the HRM platform surfaces risk around detection of certain events, certain behaviors that you're seeing users exhibit in your org, you can reach out and assign them training just in time. So rather than waiting until the refresher training that's going to come up in 6 months, you can tie that to an observed behavior, and make that training more just in time. We've spent a lot of time on this webinar today talking about nudges, and our orchestration really, that's the platform that enables this kind of real-time communication where you can reach out and engage with end users. A couple of things I really love about this is, one, we talked about how you can make these messages personalized, right? They're tied to behaviors. You get the just-in-time nature where the communication's in context, but also, and this is really important, is that it becomes proactive, right? So rather than waiting to find out about maybe a risky behavior downstream, and then going back and trying to have that conversation to change behavior, you can get much more proactive. So get right in the middle of that interaction. One of the use cases that we're working on with one of our customers is that they were really concerned about certain data transfer behaviors that they were seeing with data from their DLP tool. And so while their DLP tool provided some minimal capabilities to engage the end user, it wasn't providing exactly what they needed. And then they realized the next use case that they were looking at was around web security and visiting risky websites. And so one of the great things about using an HRM platform like Unify is that you can bring all that together and have a centralized platform for communications in one place, regardless of which security tool in your ecosystem is informing you of the risk. And then the last thing I'll just mention briefly is kind of one step beyond that, is that we're also building orchestration workflows that allow you to reach out and actually change policies to tune the security controls in your environment to the risk that you're seeing around the human behaviors. And so this is really exciting capability.
Hey, Kelly, can
Yeah.
you give an example of that policy change?
Yeah, absolutely. So one that we've just released is around identity and access management. So one of the vendors that we're partnering with is SailPoint, just as an example. But when you identify a particular risky user with a certain set of behaviors, one of the options that we provide is to reach out into SailPoint and change the group policy configuration for that user so that they're actually having a different policy applied to how they authenticate to applications based on their risk. And so allows you to turn the dial up a little bit for risky users, but also at the same time, you can use the capability to reduce some of that friction for users that are proven to be vigilant.
What I love about that is that there's no communication actually needed. The policy is changing automatically without intervention. So I think that is just like completely next level.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really where the scalability comes into play.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's just touch on the next slide. Aaron asked a great question in the Q&A about sort of this dichotomy between carrot and stick, and like, I think there's consensus in what we've seen in the chat here that we all have a strong preference for the carrot and that we see better results, but sometimes the organizations that we're in are structured around kind of the stick approach to remediation. And so how do we really get ahead of that and change the mindset and the tactic? And my answer to that is with data, right? And that's another place where an HRM platform like Unify can really help, because you can actually execute action plans, gather the data, say, here's where we were at before the intervention, and maybe that intervention might be a stick in one case, and say, here's the outcome of that 1 month later. Did we actually move the needle? And then maybe do the same exercise again and say, let's try more of a carrot remediation and actually have the data to drive that conversation within your organization to say, look, we're getting just as good or better results using a carrot approach, and here's the data to back it up.
Very cool. I think a lot of that is just kind of like personality and background when it comes to reward, and the carrot versus the stick, Aaron. You might have a challenge with this. So I think we need some data to back up how positive reinforcement can really change behavior. So maybe let's chat about that more in the community. And we are right at time. Again, thank you everybody for joining. Please keep the conversation going in the community. This is just such good stuff. Anybody want to nerd out on nudge theory with me? Let's go for it. And then David, if you could please drop the link to HRM Con. In case you guys have not yet registered for our virtual conference on June 20th, we are going to be talking about things just like this. Brian Krebs is going to be there. Our founders are going to be there. Kelly will be there. I'll be there. So we have, I think, over 500 people registered so far, and we'd love for you to be one of them. So please do register if you haven't yet. Kelly, any last wisdom you want to share?
No, the engagement on these topics is great, and lots of ways to keep these conversations going. So please continue to engage with this. We'd love to hear what's working, what's not, and how we can be a part of that.
Absolutely. Well, Kelly, thanks for joining us for this Ask Me Anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We will have slides and we will have the recording coming out to you later in the week. Thanks again. See you next time.